Chicken turned out mixed up. It's ready to go in the oven, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that in the oven. It says 35. Heavy to handle. Go ahead and put it in my oven. Hey guys, how are you today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad that you're here. Hey guys, today we're going to make homemade chicken and dumplings, and I'm so excited to get started. First, I'm going to put on my little handy dandy little vest because I tend to get really messy when I make chicken and dumplings and flour gets everywhere. So go ahead and put that on. Also, I had to find a big old cooker, and this is a big cooker. Trust and believe, it's a big cooker, but it's about the only cooker that I could find that I had that's got a lid, and I need a lid. But I also like to use that big cooker when I do make chicken and dumplings, because I don't like to crowd the dumplings and all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and get started. I've got three, you can see here. I've got three chicken breasts. They are boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Get you straightened up here. I've got the fan on because sometimes when I don't, I'll shut it off until sometimes when I don't turn that fan on, our fire alarm goes off. It happens all the time. So if the fire alarm goes off, don't nobody leave. I'll take care of it. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I got a little bit of water in this. I'm going to drain that water out. Now, I've already washed the chicken good, and I washed my hands. That's the very first thing that you do, is wash your hands and wash the chicken real good. I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this poultry seasoning on the chicken, like so. Not much. And then I'm just going to dash it with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And we'll be using some more salt and pepper when it gets done, because you got to taste and go from there. So down here, see if y'all can see. I'll look for my phone one of these days to just slide right out of that, and you all go hitting the floor. So I'll tell you right now, if anybody gets hurt, I ain't got no insurance on you. So bear with me. Alright, so I've got them pretty well coated. I'm going to go ahead and take the lid off this big pan. And I'm going to go ahead and put the chicken down in here. Now that I've handled that chicken, let me wash my hands again. Got to wash your hands, guys. Your paws or your hands. Get me a little salt and water here and wash my hands. How is everyone doing? I guess since the last time I talked to you all, I have now got a grandbaby. He was 7 pounds and 12 ounces. He was 20 inches long. He's absolutely beautiful. I had about 5 or 6 people said he looked just like me, and I agree with them 100%. He looks just like me. He has my chubby little cheeks. He's got my little chin, and he's got my little pug nose. He's just, he's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. I couldn't be more happier. Just getting that little bundle of joy. And when I come home, I miss him so bad I can't hardly stand it. And my son, he's probably going to bawl me out one of these days when I text him and say, "Can I see the baby, please?" And I have to FaceTime him, and he's going to get tired of that every night. But I'll just keep going until he bowls me out. So now we got our chicken in here. Most people will fill this up with water, but I like to get as much flavor as I can with my chicken and dumplings. So I always, if I've got it on hand, I will use as much chicken broth as I can find. Let me get something to cut that with, because it ain't popping up like it's supposed to be. That makes stuff so hard to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of these in here. I'll probably have to use, well, I've only got 3, so I'll probably have to use all 3 of these. And these little boxes of chicken broth is loaded with flavor. They've got a lot of flavor in them. And that's what you want with your chicken and dumplings is a lot of flavor. Go ahead and put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and open another one. And guys, this is a different brand, but it's still chicken broth. So it don't matter if you got to mix and match. I mean, it don't matter at all. My family, they love chicken and dumplings. My brother, he's passed away now. God rest his soul. I miss him so bad. I miss him every day. But he always loved chicken and dumplings. That was his favorite dish, Christmas and Thanksgiving. He always came in looking for the chicken and dumplings. That was his favorite. I'm going to put this other bottle in there. Now what you want to do is you want to get this on the stove, and we're going to let it come up to a boil. When it comes to a boil, we're going to set our timer for about 15 minutes, cover it, put the lid on it, and turn the heat down a little bit, and just let it simmer till it gets done. That way your chicken won't get all rubbery and stuff. So we got that in there. Alright. Now, I've got the chicken broth in there, but I'm going to have to add some water also, because you want enough liquid in there that when you do get your dumplings done, that you're going to have plenty of room for them dumplings to float around. So, we have well water, so I use this water anytime I'm cooking. I always buy water. I don't never use our well water to cook with. I'm just going to pour, let's see how much I'm going to pour of that. I want to get this pan probably halfway full, at least. So, this is a 1 gallon jug, I think, and I poured about half of it, so a little bit more. Pour about half of it. That should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on the stove, and we're going to let that come to a boil. And once again, when it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn the heat down and put the lid on it and let it simmer for probably about 15-20 minutes until the chicken is good and tender and pull apart. If you do it any more than that, your chicken will probably get rough, tough, whatever. But anyway, I'll come back when this chicken is done, and we'll go from there. Hey guys, okay, I'm back. I just pulled the chicken out. As you can see, still got the meat tenderizing stuff that I used to season it with. I pulled the chicken out. I'm setting it to the side, giving it time to cool, and after it cools, I'll take 2 forks and straight it up. Also, with my dinner tonight, I'm going to be making some cornbread, and I just got it out of the oven. I'll show y'all what it looks like. I'll find another mitten somewhere to get it out with. Just a second. Can't never find nothing when you want something. I found it. Here's the cornbread. I'll show you guys on another video how I make my homemade cornbread. And we'll also be having some mashed potatoes and cornbread, and probably mac and cheese or something else to go with their chicken and dumplings. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. But anyway, now that I've got my, I don't know if y'all can see. Now that I've got the chicken out of the pot, and y'all can see what it looks like. I still got the stove cut down real low. I'll go ahead and take about 4 tablespoons of butter and put right down in there. Right down in that liquid. And also, I'm going to be using 2 cans of cream of chicken condensed soup. This will help to thicken the juice in our dumplings. Now, also, if I've got buttermilk on hand, I'll use buttermilk with my dumplings and with my broth here. But I don't have buttermilk. Nobody in my family really likes buttermilk. I don't think anyway. But anyway, I always use this. It's powder. You just mix it with a cup of regular milk or whatever, and it turns into buttermilk. So I really like that. When I need buttermilk, I can just go to that in the pantry. So, I already mixed up enough of that to thicken my, I put 2 tablespoons and a half of cup of regular milk in this and just stirred it. And I want to pour that, this will be going down into my dumplings, but I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and put this down in here so it can be working on that broth. Be careful when you put this in here too, it'll splatter up and burn you up. Get all that down in there. Now guys, I'm going to take this can and barely tip it down in there to get me some of that broth out. I've got like a half a can of broth that I scooped out of that. I'm going to take this right here. Give me a spoon. I'm going to take this right here, cornstarch. And I'm going to use probably a tablespoon and a half. If you use 1 tablespoon, you liquid a bit, it'll get thick, but it's not as thick as the way we like it. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon and a half of this down in that liquid. Let me set this up over here. And I'm going to stir it up real good. I use this can so I won't have to dirty another cup. I mean, who wants to dirty all kinds of dishes, you know what I mean? So I've got that, and I'll just go ahead and pour it right back into the broth. Like that. Now, on to our dumplings. For the dumplings, in this bowl, I'm going to beat up 1 egg. I'd like to give a shout out to my best friend, Brittany, for all these little bowls. She has blessed me with all kinds of these little bowls. Look at that one. I love that one. It's so cute. So thank you, Brittany, so much for those bowls. I sure appreciate it. She always has the prettiest stuff at her house, and I can never find stuff like she finds. But anyway, I'm going to beat this 1 egg up. That's what we'll start out with. Well, eggs won't hang on there. Go ahead and put that 1 beaten egg in there. And like I said, I don't have no buttermilk, so I use this powder to mix it up to make me some buttermilk. So that'll go in. Just like so. And now I've got 2 cups of flour right here already measured out that I'll go ahead and put in here. Whoop. It splashes. We've got baking powder. I'll go ahead and use 1 teaspoon of baking powder on my measuring thing. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. This is what makes your dumplings rise up. Just a tad bit more, make sure I got enough on there. See, I'm making a mess, but that's okay. If you ain't making a mess, you ain't cooking, right? That's right. Okay. I'm using my little cheat sheet so I won't forget nothing. Now, I use this Crisco right here for my dumplings, and my recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup. Now, I didn't hardly have a whole 1/3 of a cup, so what I done was sliced off 2 little pieces of just butter and just mixed that in with the Crisco, because sometimes I make it with butter. So we're just going to go with it today and put as much Crisco as I had and the rest butter that I had. Go ahead and put that right in there. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to get a fork, and you kind of just want to work it all together, making sure that you're breaking that lard and that Crisco and that butter up in there real good. Just want to mix it around. And I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of pepper because I like the way the pepper looks in the dumplings. So I'm going to add a little bit of pepper into mine. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to take this over here to the table. I've already got my table cleaned off. I'm going to spread some flour on my table, and then we'll start working this dough up. And I'll bring you guys back. Okay. I got my dough laid out on the table, and I already washed all that up, y'all know. Let's see. And what you do is you just spread a little flour out on the table, and you just start doing like this right here. Pulling back and pushing forward. Taking the ends in, pulling back and pushing forward. Taking the ends in, pulling back and pushing forward. That's going to knead your dough. Okay, and when it gets kindly Play-Doh-y like, have enough flour on your table here, you want to take your rolling pin. Guys, this rolling pin, it's been in the family for oodlings of years. Years and years and years, so it's an oldie. So you want to take and roll your dough out like this. Hope y'all can see this good. See if I can slide it back. And guys, if you need more than this, you can double your recipe and make more. I hear the phone ringing, but I can't answer. Can't answer the phone. Now I have a, I'm gonna roll it just a little bit thinner than that. I didn't have no wax paper for when I get these cut out. I usually put it on wax paper. But I sprayed that aluminum foil, and hopefully it won't stick when I lay my strips out there for when I get ready to drop them down in my dumplings. Now that I got it rolled out the thickness that I want, I'll take the pizza cutter and I'll just, it don't have to be perfect. It don't have to be straight. Just cut them like that in strips, ever how you want to. You can roll this in little balls if you want to. You don't have to cut it out with a pizza cutter. It's just your preference, ever how you want to do it. I find this to be a little bit easier. And I always wonder why Mom would sit down in a chair. Let me see if I can get you out of here. Sit down in the chair and I have to hunch down to see you guys. And do her baking and cooking and stuff. And now I know why. When your old bones get old, yes sir, you're going to sit down. I'm going to cut them like that right there. All the way across. Some people like to cut them in longer strips than that. I like them little bite-sized pieces. Works for us. And what I'll do is I'll just take them up, and you can see that or not. I'll take them up and I'll lay them right here on this little sheet. And then after that, we'll dump them in the water. Let them simmer for about 15 or 20 minutes. And you'll have the best homemade chicken and dumplings you've ever had in your life. Yes, sir. I also like to give a shout out to my family that's been so supportive of me and my starting of my little YouTube channel here. I like to shout out especially to my brother-in-law Daniel. He's been awesome, giving me tips and advice on what I can improve on and stuff, and that's really helpful. And I hope he knows how helpful that is, so I really appreciate that. But anyway, I'm going to put all these on here, and then I'll bring you guys back when I'm at the stove ready to drop them in, and we'll go from there. Thank you. It shut off for some reason. I don't know what happened, but we are still lowering dumplings, so hopefully you didn't miss too much of it. But I was saying I might transfer this back into my original pot, and then I might leave it in this one. I'm not decided yet on how I'm going to do that. Yeah, what I was saying is that you don't want to stir your dumplings too much, because they may fall apart if you stir them too much. And guys, like at the end of this video, I will put the instructions, the ingredients. I'll put a list of the ingredients that I used. And once again, you don't have to have that buttermilk mix. You can use regular milk. You don't have to have that if you don't want to use that. It's just your preference or whatever you want to use. They are looking good. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on this now. And I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes. And then I'll come back and let y'all see the final product. So guys, the chicken and dumplings are all done. I've got them sitting on the stove still in the big cooker with the lid on it it just don't keep warm setting. But I'll show you what the final product looks like. If I can get it out there. Let's see, that way. There's a big bowl of chicken and dumplings. And the soup in that chicken and dumplings will just keep getting thicker and thicker. And like I said, I'll have the recipe at the end of the video in case I lost some of y'all on this. But thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.